everybody. Lovely to have you with us. My name is Edith Bowman and welcome to our performance masterclass supported by Channel 4 as part of the Guru Live online Spring 21 programme, a joint initiative between BAFTA Cymru and BAFTA Scotland, where we will be celebrating and inspiring the next generation of Scottish and Welsh talent during a week of special panels and masterclasses. Now, a quick bit of housekeeping. Now, these virtual events are part of BAFTA's learning work to share expertise from film, games and television with audiences far and wide. And it's wonderful to welcome everybody who's joined us from all over the place this evening. And you can check out BAFTA.org and BAFTA's social channels for more activity and news that has been going on. We'd love you to join in the conversation as well this evening. So please feel free to share your thoughts. Maybe if you want to ask a question, you can tell everybody what you asked and what the answer was using the hashtag Guru Live. So that's hashtag Guru Live. And I mentioned questions that you can ask questions. I'm going to selfishly start off, but we'd love to get as many questions from you as is possible. So please send them in via the Q&A function, which you will see on the screen at the bottom. Also, to let you know that we have closed captioning available right now, which you can turn on at the bottom of your screen. Now, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here this evening to host this event because I've been such a fan of the show that we saw these wonderful two actors in recently. A fantastic series and fantastic performances. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome to this wonderful evening tonight the fabulous Callum Scott Howells and David Carlyle. Hello, gents. Please turn your cameras on.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, everybody has to have done that kind of dance walk to the dance floor at some time in their life, isn't it? That kind of, it's so great.
Oh, thank you, Edith. Oh, it's so
How are you both?
Good.
Very
Excited
good.
to see you.
Oh,
Love, it's so good to see you.
You
and
too.
To see Di as well.
Hi, love.
Listen, I'm going to dive right in because, you know, we're going to get as many questions as we can in from our fantastic audience, but massive congratulations on this show. I mean, all of it. I had all the emotions watching this show, and just the characters, the writing, the feel of it, and just the importance of it as well. It was such a fantastic thing to watch and such a necessary thing for, I think, to be on our TVs as well. Do you mind if we talk a little bit about It's a Sin first, if that's okay?
I've forgotten what it is. It's been so long. What's it about?
I didn't watch it.
What happens again?
How long is it since you filmed it then? Since you made it?
I think it's been. Surely Di is close to about 2 years now.
January 2020 was when we wrapped it. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right at the beginning of January. So even before we knew what coronavirus was, really.
Wow. I'm going to talk to you individually about the step into those roles and the step into this production. David, I'm going to start with you, and would you mind sort of talking to me about the audition process for it and what your reaction was to reading the script for the first time, and if it was a case of you going for the specific character of Gloria?
No, I was in Scotland, I think, for the weekend or something. I live in London, and I drove back down, and my agent said, "Oh, you've got a casting. It's for Russell T Davies' new thing. They want to see you Wednesday morning." And this was like Monday night. I was told about this. Okay, so I started just trying to read the script as quickly as possible. I mean, really, I could only look at a little bit of it, scanned as best I could everything, and then just focused in on the scenes. Went in Wednesday morning, just gave it my best, and then walked away. And then on Friday morning, I got the part. Like, it was just like so
wow.
out of the, and I was crossing the road, I remember, to go to start my day job, and I'd had a couple of beers the night before with a friend, and I was just, you just feel a little bit woolly. And then the phone went, my agent went, "Where are you?" I said, "Oh, I'm just crossing the road." She went, "Oh, hang on a minute, I'll let you cross." And then I crossed the road, and she's, "Okay, just take a minute. Here's some news." I went, "What? They've given me the job? That's ridiculous." Out of nowhere. And then 2 weeks later, I was filming it. I mean,
Wow.
the script is just, it hits you like a ton of bricks. And I can't remember us not feeling emotional about it, however many times we read it. So it was a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was told, I was like, I'm taking this. This is amazing.
Was the scene that you did in the audition, did it end up in the, did you end up filming it? Was it in the final production?
It's the one you showed. So that, and then the next bit as well.
Oh, wow. Oh, God, every hair on my arm just stood up on end at that. That's amazing.
That one.
Yeah. Callum, what about for you?
So I was in my second year of drama school when I went in for it, and basically I had an agent going into drama school, which was really nice, and they were really supportive of me because, training obviously is a 3-year thing, and they were always like really supportive of me because they believed in me. So basically they said, we'll only put you up for stuff like if it's sort of a career starter type thing, and basically this script came through, and it was called Boys originally, and I read it. I read it overnight, and I saw what the role was. It was this Welsh boy called Colin, and I was like, oh, I really want to do this. I really want to play this. And I remember at the time I was a bit like, I didn't know, I didn't have a lot of like, not just saying, I didn't have a lot of belief in myself. So I really was like, if I really do a good job at this and just give it a good go, maybe this can be something that can turn into something. And basically I taped for it, and I submitted my tape, and then I got a recall for it, went up to London. And then the day after my recall, I was at my old school, Treorchy Comp in the Valleys, and I really randomly going back to visit my high school. Yeah. And I was in my old head of sixth form's office when I got a call from my agent, and then it was this thing of like, Tom, my agent, he was like, "Are you sitting down?" And I was like, "No, but just tell me anyway." It was amazing. Really vivid memory, similar to Die. Like you just remember it, you remember it, don't you?
Yeah. The moment the word comes.
I love how caring your agents are to make sure you're in a safe place, that you're not in the middle of a road, that you're sat down.
Are you sitting down? Have you got some water? Have you got some food?
Yeah. And my agent even had the foresight to say to me, like, "Oh, you should actually now just go make a couple of phone calls and then call me back," because I was just like, I don't know what to say. I was like, nothing came out.
Mad.
And how important is it, or what is it? What does it add to, or give you the opportunity to do, being able to play the roles in your, in your accents, in your dialect? Does it make a difference? Does it make it easier? What does that give you?
I think definitely for me. I think what it does, well, one thing, you don't have to think about an accent to do it, which is good. So that's actually one thing that is removed. Like, so that's one thing you don't have to think about. And I think personally, I felt that it allowed me to sort of focus on my acting in a way I've never kind of been able to. I was able to just throw myself in and just be, do you know what I mean, Edith? Like, what about you, Dahlia?
Yeah.
Yeah,
one less thing to worry about, almost, in terms of
When I went in for the casting, actually, Gloria was written as Mancunian, and so I'd been asked to prep that accent, and I went in and said, "Okay." She said, "Well, let's try it in Scottish." This is one of the casting directors, and I did it, and then we sort of forgot to do the Mancunian, and so I left the casting and was like halfway home, went, "Oh, I messed it up. I didn't do the accent that was required," and then got the part, and they were like, "Oh, let's keep him Scottish." Absolutely. I sometimes find that difficult because it means I've got to be really honest, because you can tell when it doesn't come out of your throat with the level of authenticity it should if you're acting. So I feel like it's a greater challenge, but the payoff, I think, is better, because you must go for the honest thought rather than trying to hide behind something, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Because I love, this brilliant ensemble cast that you kind of watch you all on screen, and there's just amazing electric chemistry that you feel whilst you're watching it, and I just wondered what it was like for you all on the first day that you were all together. I imagine there was there read-throughs, what was that kind of that first day like, kind of almost like first day at school type thing, isn't it, in a way?
It was terrible. I was sat next to Callum.
David, sorry.
I was
sat
next to Callum, yeah, in the read through, and I took out my Chili's bottle of water, and I've got the extra large one, and Callum said. Callum said, "Oh, that's a big one." I thought, here we go. He's fun. I like him.
Oh.
And then that was us, wasn't it? We were all in the hotel that night. We all just went out and had a drink, and that was us, mates.
Literally. Oh, that's a big, oh God, terrible. Edith, you just think, why did they keep me? They should have just sacked me there and then, innit?
Yeah, they should have got rid of you. Waste.
I can tell why they kept you. I mean, I think that it's just, I mean, he's such an interesting character, Colin, you know, in terms of his kind of, you know, the repression, and even the clothes and stuff are kind of holding him back from, you know, and I love that scene that we just showed, you know, because it's kind of, you can feel and see him kind of simmer into the surface of the real person, you know, and him being in an environment that allows him to be himself. And it's so subtle. But I think that, you know, I know that you've got the brilliant writing of Russell there, but it feels like there was enough freedom given to you all to really bring your own take to those characters and your own opinions about how you would play them. Would you say that that's fair?
Absolutely, definitely. I think what was really lovely about, particularly about Andy Pryor, the casting director, I think he casts in a way where, you know, he wants the person who's playing the role to be the role. And I know that sounds quite obvious, but, you know, in this, it was very much that, like, the people, you know, the people you see on screen, like, you know, we were all using attributes of ourselves. Like, you know, like for me personally, like, there is a lot of me in Colin. Like, I feel like I was really like sort of calling on things that I've experienced in my life growing up. And I think it was just very like, I love that. I love doing that stuff. And I do think when I watch the show back, because, you know, Di and Omari, Lydia and Ollie and Nathaniel, they're all our friends. We're all best friends. And, you know, because I know them, I can see like some of them. It's not all them, because obviously we are playing characters.
Yeah.
Every now and again, there's this glimpse of them that I see. And I just think we were allowed to bring that, I guess. And it's Andy Pryor and our director, Peter, that I guess is thanks to.
What do you remember most about the experience of making the show? David, do you want to pick up on this one first? Apologies for the shouting if you can hear it in my background. By the way, it's my 8-year-old who's just come home from school.
Oh,
like the story. Apologies. Yeah, get him in. No.
No. What do I remember most? For me, it was the moments where we were all collectively kind of in those big party scenes. Now, actually, they only take up about 10 minutes or something, probably the whole series, but they took weeks to shoot because there were so many different locations. And for me, that was it, because I was really nervous. Like, I've never done a TV show with that level of budget and clout and that many people watching, it felt like sometimes on those monitors. But just having those lot there, and we'd mess around something terrible. I mean, it was borderline unprofessional.
You were, speak for yourself.
And yeah, like, I just remember loving every moment of that. I've rarely had that much fun and felt that supported in any job, I don't think, just because they were all there. Even you, Callum.
That's lovely to hear. Callum, what about for you? What's the kind of most memorable moment or experience from making It's a Sin?
Oh, I think I really remember I think I've got it here because, and I'm sure Di will agree, that the scene in heaven when Ollie's doing his big speech.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and he's doing it, you know, Ollie's like, me and Di both were in awe of what he was doing. Like, he had this massive speech and it was huge, and he was just making it look so effortless. Yeah. But I tell you what, Edith, in between the takes of that, we were just, it was just hilarious. We were just having such a laugh. I can't even say like what some of the stuff he was saying, because I can't even remember it, but I just remember just absolutely laughing our heads off in between those takes. And I think, that, you know, that goes throughout the whole shoot. Like we just really made sure that in between takes, and especially the scenes that were very that were really sort of happy and we could have fun in, we just made sure that we had the most fun we can, because then, you know, scenes like you saw that, you know, Di does amazingly with that scene with Lydia, like those scenes, we all had to go there, and we all had that, all felt that pressure. So I think we all had to really kind of enjoy the good times, really, in order to kind of be able to just fully go there in the sort of not so good times.
And I guess that must have, I don't know, you know, particularly with those really hard scenes, those kind of really, you know, emotional scenes, whether it's your own character or watching what someone else is going through. I guess having each other as well as a support network, did that make that easier to kind of decompress from those moments as well?
Oh God, yeah. I remember because all the stuff that Gloria's had in his flat, which included like when Gary Lewis was playing my dad and Sarah McCarty there, who was playing my sister. Like, I was quite nervous about the whole thing. Just felt very, very intense. I felt a real weight of responsibility. But yeah, I'd turn my phone back on. We would have a moment, and Callum's like, "I hope it's going well." And then Amari would text me to find out what was happening, and then Lydia would cuddle me, and I'd cuddle Lydia. And then also we'd have a laugh, like Lydia would put on Instagram, and we'd all dance around to some daft song that we'd chosen that day to decompress. I think literally having your mates around when you have to do that stuff is so important. I felt very supported.
It's so interesting. You said a couple of times about being nervous. Why do you think you were particularly nervous about this role, I guess?
To be honest, it's just I'd never done scenes of that weight for something this big. I mean, I feel like I have in the theatre, but the theatre, I don't know, you can't really see the audience, and so you just get on with it, right? It's between you and another person. Whereas you're doing the scene, and there's a lot of people waiting on you, you know. And I just sort of always felt quite stressed about it. I don't think I do anymore. I feel like that was me. It was a baptism of fire, and then it's over, and I feel like I know what I'm doing now. But every day was a big learning curve for me. So I'm quite a nervous person anyway. I do kind of get a bit anxious. I'm at my best when I'm acting. I think me as a real person is kind of stressful.
I mean, you both have got a lot of theatre experience. You know, that's kind of you both. And I was interested to find out before I want to know how it all started for you both, but how important theatre is to you both as being part of your career. Because, you know, when I've been lucky enough to speak to actors in the past, it feels, and I get a constant sense that it's such a necessary part of the journey, because it gives you something that working in film and TV you don't really get. It's kind of almost like the best training ground in the world. Can you relate to that? Is that something you agree with, Callum?
100%. It's the thing I first started doing when I first ever wanted to act. My mother, sorry, basically when I was young, I used to just sing in the car, and my mother was like, "Oh, you know," and bless her, she tried me in all these different things like karate, and I only did it for a week, and then I did like football. I love football, but I'm rubbish at it. So basically, when I started singing in the car, my mother was like, "Oh, let's try and get you into an Amdram." And after that, then I just fell in love with doing like amateur theatre. And it was through doing theatre, you know, grassroots theatre, because that's what Amdram is what you can do literally. For me, it was literally like 10 minutes down the road. And I think that's the power of it, is that it's kind of, it doesn't discriminate. You know what I mean? You can come from anywhere and you can do it. And I think that's, for me, theatre is like what I class as probably my best form of training.
Yeah. David, what about for you?
I think that theatre's, acting's acting. And I guess you do it in different mediums. So even if it was the theatre, 100-seater is very different from doing it for a 2,000-seater. It requires a change of how you communicate your story. But theatre's just got so much like skill, it feels. I mean, not that television doesn't, it's a whole other skill, but you kind of have to be aware of so much when you're doing it, because you're the one in charge of telling that story. Whereas I think with camera, which is also quite scary, is that an editor can turn your story around.
Yeah.
And director can. So sort of out of your hands once you've done it. And but yeah, theatre's like it's all on you. So you really have to think about the craft of it and the storytelling that's going on. And so I think if you can do that when it comes to the sort of episodic nature of shooting a TV script, it's sort of that it's more manageable somehow with television. Because theatre's the whole thing. You got to do the whole show 2 hours. So, but it's just where I just love. Well, I love both. I love all acting, but I love being on stage. I mean, it's just a buzz, isn't it? That's the thing.
I'm always in awe when I go to the theatre. I can't wait to get back into a theatre to watch. You know, I imagine you both feel the same.
Let's all go. Let's the three of us.
What should we go and see?
Oh, anything you say, Edith, it'll be bloody.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, your choice.
I'm actually going to hold you both to that. Definitely.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I've got a list of stuff that I want to see. But I'm just in awe of what you're able to do up there and how you are able to almost kind of remove yourself from that audience. You know, if someone coughs or whatever, and but you're in that moment, and it's so amazing to watch. I absolutely love watching theatre, and I think it's such a beautiful craft to be able to watch that type of storytelling. But how young were you when you were singing in the car then, and you started Amdram? And was it easy? Was it, you know, like you say, just down the road, so it was accessible? There was places you could go to, you know, to explore that outlet and that joy.
Yeah, I think I must have been about 10 or 11, I think. Yeah, and yeah, so I went to this place, which is not far from my house in Llantwit Vardra. And I went there and I did these little like sort of review musical things. And then I auditioned then there was an audition then for a different amateur theatre company, which was in Truro, but called Celsig, and they were putting on Oliver. So I auditioned for Oliver, and then I got the role. It was the worst idea they've ever had to cast me.
As Oliver.
As Oliver.
Amazing. Go on.
So then I played it, and then, you know, and I say it was the worst idea I've ever had, because that's the show that gave me the love, really. It planted the seed, and I was like, oh, I'd love to do this. And for a long time, it was a hobby, and then I did something with the National Youth Music Theatre, and then that sort of then, when I did that, I then turned it into something that I saw more as like a career opportunity, something that I maybe would be able to be lucky enough to do.
Yeah. That was something I wanted to ask, if there was a point in a moment where it turned from being a hobby and something that you loved doing to the point where you thought, this is what I want to do. This is the career that I want to have.
Me? Yes, there was. It was in. I mean, I always did it. My mum sort of let me go to youth theatres from 5 or 6, probably, even, yeah, very young.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think I was probably quite like tough as a kid, like, I was sort of quite energetic, and I was always wanting to sing and dance and do impressions. And
Di was one of, you know, in the shows where they have like a real baby, Di was the baby.
That's me. Babe in arms. Actually, I was a babe in the wood, Robin Hood and the Babes in the Wood. I was Jim, my character's name was, at the Glasgow.
Baby Jim.
It was magic. I think I was about 8 years old. So I did all of that stuff. Loved it. And then I remember being in high school, and it came to choosing subjects, standard grade and higher. And
half 6.
Sorry?
Oh.
That was fun.
So, that was really weird. Someone just went, 6:30. Thank you, whoever that was.
Right, thanks very much.
6:30, go and vote.
Yeah.
It's like the talking clocks appeared in our Q&A.
6:30.
Anyway, David, you were saying, yeah.
It was at school, and my drama teacher, Miss Burns, said, look, I think you need to take this really seriously. And she said, I wouldn't normally say that, I don't think, but I think you need to buckle down with it. And so I did, and I sort of took that leap of faith of, I'm going to pursue this, I'm going to go to drama school, and I'm going to do it. So there definitely was a turning point. I wanted to be a doctor at one stage, like Thank God I didn't do that.
What were you
Have you played a doctor yet?
No, I was in Casualty, but as a grieving father. So
Okay.
I was more in the waiting room than I was elsewhere.
I quite like the idea of like all those other things that as a child, like for a week you want to be, and as an actor you might get the chance to try it out in a role for like, you know, that's brilliant, isn't it?
Astronaut's my, I'm going to do that. Just green.
Tim Peake, you could play Tim Peake. There you go.
Well, you could. Oh, you look a bit like him as well.
Yeah, if anyone's casting, I'm free.
I think my time has passed because I really want to play a football player, but then those films have all kind of passed, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I could see that. I could see it.
Let's do it, Edith. Let's make a film. Let's make a movie.
You could do the mascot, Cal. Just stood there like dressed up as a
mascot. Yeah. Thanks, Di.
Oh.
I just want me to put a mask on so I can hide my face.
Yeah. No.
I want to know a bit more about like the audition process as well, because you both talk there about, you know, for It's a Sin, for example, Callum, you put someone on tape and then you got back to do, you know, to do a something in the room. And is it, I mean, I imagine obviously in the last 18 months it's been slightly restricted in terms of you just got to self-tape and send things in sort of thing. But has it, since you started auditioning, has that process changed at all? Or is it kind of always the same thing?
Well, I've done only over the past year, I've really sort of started doing tapes because when I was at drama school, I'd only get them every now and again because obviously my priority was training. So yeah. I feel like I'm very much still finding my way of kind of how to put stuff on tape, you know, and really how to kind of get it. Because it's, you know, you don't know how it's received, so you really got to try and find what clicks, and you've got to kind of that's a whole process in itself. But yeah. I think growing up, obviously, like I just thought it was auditions were auditions. So now that tapes have come in and stuff, I personally think they're quite cool because then it means you can audition for so much more. Whereas obviously auditions, going for meetings and stuff, that can be quite time consuming. Whereas with tapes, it can be so disposable. You can kind of you can maybe get 2 out in a day if you can do that, or do you know what I mean? I think they're quite cool in that sense. But I guess there's pros and cons because then meetings, you get to meet people, and that some people say that they're better in the room, and I think I kind of see both angles of it. Really.
Yeah. What about for you, David?
I mean, it has changed. Like I remember when I left drama school, when self-tape wasn't a thing, and so. But it was soon after, it was like a year or so later, all of a sudden we started getting these in and I had to learn how to do them. I have to say that maybe it's just because that's the way I started out. I really prefer being in the room. I get more stressed about it, and I think that's a good thing because it focuses my mind. When I've got a self-tape, I've almost got too much free time to do it or something, and I much prefer being in the room. But I mean, self-tapes are that's definitely the thing now, and that's not just because of COVID. I think it's a more effective way of seeing more people, which I think is a good thing. Sometimes it can feel a bit like, oh, I'm going up against 9,000 rather than 90, but you know what? Like, that's quite good. At least then everybody's getting a fair crack at the whip there. I think it's a great thing.
It makes it more accessible in a way as well. Like, you know, like you were saying earlier, Callum, about being able to go down the road and do your Amdram to start sort of thing. And almost kind of with self-taping, it means that you don't have to be round the corner from the casting director's office and stuff. And it makes that, you know, particularly, we're here with BAFTA Cymru and BAFTA Scotland sort of thing. And I know that for me, I had to move down to London for work because there just wasn't there in Scotland. So I had to go where the work was. And now it feels with the self-taping kind of side of things, it means that you don't have to be there, you know, all the time. You can live in Wales and you can send in your tapes, or, you know, just, do you feel that that's a part of it as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've been living in Wales all throughout the sort of pandemic. I'm here now. I'm not going to say what room I am in the house because my mother will kill me, but I'm in my house. I'm in my house in Wales. So yeah, gosh, if it wasn't for self-taping, I'd really find it hard because, you know, you've got to, I got it, you got to kind of audition, and it's, otherwise I'd be back and forth London paying God knows how much money for a train ticket. So gosh, self-taping, I think there's nothing, I don't think there is anything better than being in the room and meeting people, but like we said, taping really allows you to kind of just go up for so much more and be seen for so much more, and vice versa, for them to see so many more people. And I think, gosh, that's amazing. I think anything where it increases the chances for people from everywhere, I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Did you have this is BAFTA guru. Did you have your own gurus when you started, like in terms of people that would give you advice or you'd go to for advice?
Yes, I do. I've got one.
Yeah.
He wasn't there right at the beginning, but he's there now. And I mean, look, I think you look up to a lot of people, but my guru when it comes to what best practice at work and how to do things and commitment to the work that you're doing is an actor called Daniel Betts. And I have a WWDD, what would Dan do? Wow. He's going to kill me because I've said this. I just sort of think, how would he handle the situation? Normally it's, who wants a coffee? And then you go and sort of organize that. Yeah. I think I really, he's my man really for that. He's just sort of so gentle and kind and generous, but equally very, very committed, but takes it all with a pinch of salt, and it's so lighthearted. And yeah, he's the guy that I go to up here if I can't get hold of him.
Callum, what about you?
I'm so glad you answered first, because it gave me time to think. But I think for me, I gotta say there was a group of people that all are vivid in my head. I'm not going to name them all, but two people growing up for me that were really important was my drama teacher in school, Mrs. Roblin. Oh my gosh, she was some of the advice she gave me, like about where I went to train. Like the stuff that she was saying was so valuable. I look back and I'm like, that was so formative, because if you hadn't said that on this day, I wouldn't have made that choice and I wouldn't have done that. So for me, Mrs. Roblin, and that was just one of so many things that she said and gave me advice on. And then the other person was a man called Tim Rees-Evans, who's the artistic director of the Allowed charity, and a choir that I was part of, Only Boys Allowed. He was the conductor, and I just looked up to him so much, and he really gave me some amazing advice. That was about all sorts of things. Those two people for me really were very formative. They were really, really cool people and really helped me. And still, even to this day, I know they're the first people I call up, like you, Di,
It's important, isn't it? Because you kind of need a soundboard for things as well, in a way, don't you? In terms of, and that could be everything from, a role that you're going up for in terms of how you want to approach it, but also just in terms of being in the industry, because you only learn about it whilst you're in it, and particularly with the response that something like It's a Sin has had. I mean, that must be, I don't know, not overwhelming sort of thing, but I guess you have to work out how you're going to deal with the attention that the show is getting and that you'll get in return for that. Is that something that you were kind of prepared for with the show? That it was going to be so big and that people were?
The dying tears. I think, it's, I mean, we always say, like, we knew the show was super special because not just, like, one, because it was a Russell script, but two, because of the subject matter is something that we haven't really kind of tackled yet in this country, kind of head on. So we knew that it was going to be something that would mean a lot, we hoped that would mean a lot to people, but I don't think, we can't say that we expected the show to get the sort of response that it has, because, oh my goodness, there are so many things in it, Di. Like, it's really taken my breath away at so many points, like, it's been unbelievable.
Do you remember, Cal, like, we went out on a Friday, didn't it? And I think you, me and Amari had a Zoom drink,
Yeah,
a few days before or something. And
we always have a Zoom drink, Edith. I tell you, we will get drunk, and then the chats get deep.
No one told me about that tonight. I'm on water.
We'll get you on the next one, Edith.
Yeah, that's it. And we discussed like how are we feeling, and I don't know. Well, it was very sedate. Do you remember? Just like, yeah, well, you know, it might bring something, it might bring some work, but equally it might not. And I wonder how people will take it. Maybe it'll get some negative feedback. That was it. And then boom, Friday. I mean, it was phone, and it just didn't stop them. Well, it still hasn't stopped, is it?
Oh,
thankfully, though.
Is that what it was like for you? I think,
It's just my mum.
My phone's never gone off.
Awkward.
And but you admit, Russell T Davies, he said as well, to us all, this wasn't supposed to happen. This is a surprise to everybody. Call us whenever you need us. And so there was a real communication. I mean, I was
wow.
He texted us maybe 3 times a week, I think, at that point, didn't he? It's just, are you okay? Are you okay? So thank God for him and Andy and Peter and Phil and Nicola, you know, casting and production producers.
The support was amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God for them, really, because it was just too much. And also, we were having it while being in lockdown, so it was this really detached experience of it just all through your phone, but never really getting a chance to speak to anyone. And it was kind of strange. It just felt kind of like underwater. Amari said that he felt underwater for a while.
Oh,
sorry, that's because he went for a swim.
Shut up.
That's because you called him when he was at the pool.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Shut up.
Has it changed your life then, would you say? Is that fair to say?
Oh, I mean, I guess in a way, yeah, it's sort of given us an opportunity, and I think one that we are so grateful for. I mean, I still can't believe it, Edith. I still can't believe that they cast me, to be honest. And I genuinely mean, I pinch myself, and I think we're just so grateful to be part of a show that means so much to people, and one that hopefully will have I really hope it has like a legacy. And I think I genuinely just feel super grateful every day just to be part of it, because
It's the thing, like any actor, surely like the top of their list is to be in a show that's got a message, that's got that much integrity about it, that's that well written, and then, you know, like we're in one of them, and that's I can't take that in sometimes. I'm just like, God. And Russell said, almost in a sign-off message, it was like he was going on holiday for a couple of weeks or something. He said, look, this isn't goodbye, because we're going to be talking about this for the next 22 years. I'm still talking about Queer as Folk. And that sits a little on me, like, oh, wow, like, I am always going to be attached to this show. And people may be talking about this in years to come still. And that just like, that's a mad thing to think about. I hope that's the case, because I think it's really good. But
yeah, I think it will be.
It's just, brilliant. It's an honour, isn't it?
It was amazing watching. I was really lucky because I got to watch a couple of the episodes before it went out, because I was interviewing the composer Murray Gold about the music in it and stuff. Wow. And I was just so excited. And it was I got sent every episode bar the last one, and it was kind of like that no kind of thing, you know. It's just like so cruel.
Yeah.
But it was amazing then, kind of watching like social media almost explode around this show. And, you know, you talk about word of mouth and about, you know, people going, oh, you've got to watch this, you've got to watch that. It was everywhere. It was just, it made such a connection with people on so many levels, and also generationally as well, I think as well, you know, in terms of, you know, giving young people the confidence to speak to parents, giving parents the kind of the confidence to, you know, to talk kind of with their children about whatever it was. It just almost opened up the conversation, I think, to people so amazingly. Were you kind of keeping a wee eye on that in terms of like seeing what the response was as it was happening, or did you kind of step back a bit to just wait?
I think he couldn't help it, because not to find a point on it, but like we all had about sort of 600 followers or something, right? And then you turned on your Instagram the next day and you're like, where do all these people come from? And and 1,000,001 messages. And you're like, oh, okay. I mean, Callum, like, I sort of worry about you sometimes. I think, how is he keeping a social media account? Like, you couldn't avoid it. Like, and it was overwhelming. I had to put this drawer, I had to put my phone in there for 2 days at one point because I was so stressed out with like what was happening. And Jason, my partner, was like, enough. Like, we need a couple of days to talk. And I'm like, okay, pop it in there. Silent.
Callum?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that is so right. Yeah. You just, it's so, I think you've just got to really, in those moments, in those times, and what I've only learned, I've experienced it loads of times, but what I've learned from this time is that you've really got to like make sure number one is okay. Like, and yes, like all the cast, we've all been there for each other, and we still were there throughout that whole time. But, gosh, Edith, I did so much yoga, I tell you, flipping out. It was mad. Like, I had to really just sort of make sure that I was just looking after myself. And my dog Dewi was amazing, because I just, whenever you just hug him and just like, come here, just come here.
That's it.
It's important, because that's amazing hearing you say, you got to look after the being sort of thing as well. Listen, I could chat to you for hours, but there's so many questions coming in. I feel like I'm stealing you to myself, so we'll get some questions. We've kind of covered this. Richard says, It's a Sin felt like a pivotal moment in both television and the conversation around HIV. Did this blow you all away as much as it did us? I mean, you kind of answered that, but I'll thank you for your question, Richard, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Nadine says, hi, Callum, David. It's a Sin was so beautiful and heartbreaking. What was the hardest part of filming the show? And that's from Nadine in Aberdeen.
I think the hardest parts were the scenes that we had to really kind of the ones where our characters were very ill. I think those scenes are really difficult, because you're representing people and like victims, survivors, family members. You're representing all those people. So we really felt the weight of it. So we really had to kind of do those scenes, every scene, but particularly those scenes justice, because you are representing so many people who passed due to this horrific illness.
Yeah.
Russell would tell you that sometimes in the script too, that this actually happened. He'd sort of make that point very clear, that perhaps this part of your story, it's autobiographical, not autobiographical, but as he witnessed that, or he was aware of that happening to a friend, and you go, okay, that's actually someone's story, and their family members are still around, probably.
Yeah.
That felt, so those days were very heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the toughest.
This is from Adam Mohammed, who says, David, did you feel that being in Scotland limited your opportunities as an actor? Just as you mentioned, you were in London. I found that personally, there are limits on opportunities unless you're London-based. Scottish Youth Theatre, etc., is great, but it seems there's nothing out with the London area if you want a career in drama and acting.
When I left Scotland to come, I went to drama school in England, in London, but part of that, if I'm honest, was just about me wanting to be away from home. I think I hadn't come out yet, to be perfectly frank, and I sort of felt like I needed to be away to do that, and so that was what started it. But I haven't been up and down to Scotland a lot in my life. I mean, I'd say 3/4 of my career has been in Scotland. I don't think there's a limit. I think there might have been. Yeah, I think that could have been the case. But I think what we're talking about now with this idea of self-tapes, and I don't. I mean, we've just moved into this new place. My partner's a paramedic in London, but that's maybe the only that in my friendship group. But otherwise, we would move back up the road. It's not. I'm not here solely for work. I think there may be some limitations, but there's limitations anywhere. There's limitations in London. You don't have enough money because you spend all your money on rent or bills, and then so you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. So you're limited even if you're down here.
This is a great question from Gage, actually, who says, when you're exploring scenes of intimacy and sex, what's the most important thing for a director to consider when shooting those scenes for you as an actor?
I think the most important thing is to get an intimacy coordinator on set. That's always vital, because they are amazing. They are so they're vital in this day and age. And this, you know, I think there's no excuse for it now. Definitely. And Peter, our director, said this was the first time he'd worked with an intimacy coordinator, and he said he'll never do a job again without one. And I think that's a perfect testament to how much they needed. And then in terms of the acting, I think, you know, they really help you sort of, because, you know, they're scary things, intimacy scenes. They're things you kind of go, oh, you know, because you are at your most vulnerable in those scenes. So I think, you know, they really allow you to just throw yourself in the deep end.
Yeah, it's feeling safe, isn't it?
Exactly, Edith. Yeah. Safe. And so you can fully express yourself within the realms of that scene.
Yeah. David, do you want to add anything to that, or?
Well, I was lucky enough to escape the intimacy, the deep intimacy moments. I think the best I got was a snog, or Gloria got.
Oh,
calm down, you.
I didn't get a snog. It was just straight to it for me, guys.
Yeah.
It was straight to the point.
The other extreme for Callum, for Colin. I just think that when it's too easy, I think, because they're really awkward and they're really anxiety provoking, and they can feel very pressurized, because you're just like, oh, I just need to get on with it, because it's really, I can just imagine that there's a lot of people that would just try to get through it, and it's only afterwards you may think, oh, I wasn't comfortable with that, or I don't know why I did that, or why. And so this idea, the intimacy coach, I was present for a lot of their presentations and a lot of their work that they were doing. And I thought, this is amazing, because it made it almost clinical. It became a really easy conversation for people to have about how to do those scenes. I think that's now crucial. And if anything, I would say we should go further and say it's mandatory. If there is ever any intimacy that needs to happen, it's in the contract that there is that's paid for.
Yeah, totally. This is a great question. It's also just a lovely point. Lisa Power says, all of you became HIV activists while promoting the show. Callum was the first actor I've ever heard quoting a World Health Organization target about HIV. And you've really helped create a focus on challenging stigma and promoting testing. How did that feel to be doing that as well as a great acting job?
Oh, thank you, Lisa. No, I think it was something we all gladly took on. You know, we're so proud of this show. We're so proud to be involved. Me and Di, and also the rest of the cast as well. So I think, you know, we just felt it was such a honor. It was just an honor, Edith. It's just an absolute honor. You know, whatever we can do to, you know, gosh, you know, the World Health Organization, you know, that sort of target is something that's incredible. You know, wiping out, you know, transmissions of AIDS by 2030. That is incredible. If that can happen, and if It's a Sin is just a small part of a massive body of charities and people that are, you know, doing amazing work, then, oh my gosh, I feel just so honored, and I feel so proud to be part of it. I do.
Amazing.
It's one of those things that because of lockdown, I heard from 56 Dean Street that because people literally couldn't be around each other, we had now created an opportunity where you might actually be able to, like, if everyone tested for HIV, you could get rid of it because nobody was leaving the house and no one was doing things that transmit that virus. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And knowing what we know and the research we did about the horrors that can come from that virus left untreated, it's just now, it feels like common sense. There's no way that we can go backwards or, you know, shy away from our responsibility to speak about that. Not at all.
Brilliant. This is a lovely question. Quite a few people asking around this as well. Olivia Thompson and Jude Shedden as well. Olivia says, I'm going into drama school next year. Do you have any advice before I start? I'm in awe of both of you, says Olivia in Manchester.
Hey, Olivia. I've got, well done, because there's no easy thing to do that. I mean, I think the figures I last heard were like 30 places, but like 5,000 applicants or something stupid. So well done. I mean, that is ridiculous. I felt a bit like I wanted to get into the industry all the time when I was at drama school. So every moment I was thinking about graduating, I was thinking about an agent, I was thinking about my body, or, you know, like, going to be thin for showcase. It was ridiculous. Now looking back, I'm like, I missed so much. I had a great time, don't get me wrong, but I missed so much opportunity just to kind of go through that process. I feel like I actually had to learn a lot more when I left. So my advice to you would be, I know it's going to feel like I've got to think about the career because that's why you're doing it. I get it. But you will never get the time again just to fail and enjoy and make mistakes and just enjoy every moment of it. Don't think too much about the end goal.
Yeah. Mistakes are how you learn.
Exactly. And if only I'd known that and not beat myself up so much about it, you know, just let myself.
Instead of doing crunchies the entire time. It's like...
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, what, man?
His abs look amazing, thanks to it all.
Keep that under your hat, Callum.
Callum, what about for you? What's your advice?
I think Di just hits the nail on the head. It's just about sort of just going for it and enjoying it and enjoy the mistakes. Like, that's exactly it, because they teach you what's shit. It's difficult, but it's just true. Like, it teaches you what's rubbish and what's good, and you know what, like, you'll be amazing. Like, Olivia, you're gonna smash it and just enjoy it and go out, get drunk and enjoy the times, because
it's all part of it. Yeah,
it's all part of it, you know.
This is lovely from Shireen, who says, I just want to say thank you so much for being real and talking about nerves, David. I think sometimes there's an unreal expectation for actors to be confident in auditions and on set. For example, don't apologise if you mess up and don't say you're nervous in the room, etc. But we are human, and you're both fantastic at bringing humanity to this industry. Sorry, it's not a question, but a thank you so much for being real and honest. Oh, so nice that.
Thank you for saying that, because I felt a little bit insecure because I'd said I was nervous. And I thought, I'm going to look as if but that's what happened. So thank you for saying that too, because, like, it just shows you just actually being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Summer McNamee says, who are your acting inspirations?
Oh gosh, I have so many. For me, the two, Anthony Hopkins. Like, I mean, he's a legend and he's a very well known actor. But also everything he does is just, you know, I still haven't seen The Father, but oh my gosh, I just know I know it's going to be amazing. Obviously, like, he's won the Oscar and stuff, but I just know he's going to be amazing, and because I love everything he does. And another one, someone who I'm really grateful for, because I watched a lot of their things when I was kind of going through a bad time when I was in drama school, was Josh O'Connor. I think he's everything that boy does. I just think he's awesome. I just think he's a proper craftsman, and he's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Wow, yeah,
they're good ones, Cal.
No pressure, David. No pressure.
Thank you. God, that was rude. I was like, oh, it's awkward. He hasn't said my name. I've got two as well, and I couldn't choose between them. They look very different. Andrew Scott, I love. On stage, that man is like electricity personified. When he begins, you have to sit forward, and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen next. He's amazing. I just would love. I stood next to him in a bar once, and I just panicked. You know, you're like, oh no, don't say anything. Don't embarrass yourself.
You would be honoured, Di, to see you and speak to you.
I'd have done this, Callum. That's it. And my ultimate inspiration, I have to say, is Judi Dench. I just think she is unreal. The honesty, I just feel like every performance she does is pure honesty, and I aim to be that honest in anything I do. I just try to think of what would she do, what would Dan do, and what would Judi do.
What would Judi do is a great one. I love that. This is Emaine says, thanks for being so open and hilarious. How was it to leave the show? How was it to leave the show and to walk away from it? I guess the experience, the characters, the friendships, Oh, sorry to finish on a downer here, guys.
No, I was thinking we left it twice almost. We left it when you wrap. And that, for us both, was actually quite late. So we were only a couple of weeks off, or a week off the last final moment. And then there was the wrap party. The wrap party was just loads of fun, too much fun. But that my last moment, I was with Amari in the car filming something. That was the last scene I did. And he just gave me like a kiss and a cuddle. And I just remember thinking, I might have just done the best job of my life. And I got on the train and I just felt very emotional about it. I cried quite a lot, not in a bad way, just like that was brilliant.
Happy tears.
Yes, exactly. I learned so much.
Yeah. Carlin, what about for you?
Oh, it's the hardest part of it, really, saying goodbye to the cat, saying goodbye to everything, like about the job. It, you know, it kind of feels like it'll never end, because like I feel like it was my first job, you know, out of school, and I think that's something that I feel like I'm just going to always be processing for the rest of my life. I remember actually the day I rapped, I was like, it didn't even feel like I'd rapped. I was like, I refused that it was that it was over. So I think I'm still kind of processing all, really, Edith, and just gratitude. That's all I feel, gratitude about the thing. Yeah.
Well, we're excited to see what's next and what we can, you know, we can see you in. I mean, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to be filming at all during lockdown, or if you know what's next, or if you know what you're doing next. If you can share with us at all.
Who knows? Who knows? Anyone who'll have me, Edith.
Yeah. This is the thing. The industry's still shut pretty much. So like from the minute we finished at Cymru, a couple of months, and then closed down, shutters drawn, and it's sort of, I mean, it's recovering now, and definitely things are starting. But yeah,
I think just excitement, though. Excitement
exactly.
For everything, anything that's next, whatever's next. I think we're all just excited, and we're going to support each other. That's one thing. We you know, Amari's doing a play in the West End soon, and we've all booked to see him in there. So, you know, that's the thing, Edith. You'll come with us.
I'd love to. I am so there. I'll message you on social media, and I mean, I'm just inviting myself, but I'd love to come.
You come in, Yeah. That's it. We'll get you in the car. Come on, Edith, we're off.
Night out. I think that this show is something that, I think you mentioned it earlier about it, you know, hoping that it will be something that people will watch in years to come, and I think it will be. It's a piece of art and creativity and performance that is so important on so many levels, and all your performances are extraordinary, and it was such an emotional and a truthful piece of TV that I can't congratulate you enough, and I can't thank you enough as well for being so brilliant and honest tonight and answering all these questions. It's been an absolute joy. I'm just sad that it has to come to an end now.
Honestly, Edith, I think me and Di are just buzzing that we got to meet you.
We are.
Oh my God. Oh, so brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. We got to thank as well Channel 4 for their support tonight, and everybody watching for all your questions. Thank you for sending them in. Please do join in the conversation on BAFTA social channels using the hashtag #GuruLive. Thank you so much once again, David and Callum. It's been an absolute treat.
Pleasure.
I'm going to hold you to that theatre date. And and have a good evening. Stay safe, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us.
So much.
Bye,
everybody.